Hi and welcome to Chi Chi Cinema Club. My name's Chinwe, aka Chi Chi, and I love going to the cinema. On this channel, I don't only review new films, I ask if they're actually worth the trip. Today, I'm asking if the film, The Magic Faraway Tree, is worth the cinema trip. The Magic Faraway Tree stars Claire Foy and Andrew Garfield as a married couple, Polly and Tim Thompson, who with their 3 children are forced to move from the city into a rundown barn house in the country due to Polly losing her job. Whilst there, Tim decides he wants to set up an Italian tomato sauce business, so they grow some tomatoes or start growing tomatoes. Their youngest child decides to stroll off into a forest that they're forbidden to go into and finds a magic tree where she meets a whole range of fantastic characters like Mr. Moonface. Whilst she also manages to then bring in her siblings as well, who also take part in adventures that happen there. Now, this film has a whole smorgasbord of UK actors you may recognise from being on the TV screen, such as Lenny Henry and Michael Palin. The list goes on. Rebecca Ferguson is the villain as Dame Snap. What is really interesting is that this film is based on the series of Enid Blyton books by the same name. Now, Enid Blyton nowadays is seen as a problematic figure, but I'm not here to discuss that. I'm here to look at the merits of the film. So the vibe of this film, it's definitely a children's film, but I am going to say that it is adult friendly. There was enough humour in there for both children and adults to understand different parts that related to them. So that was an interesting thing within this film. Now, I found the plot really the pace of the film quite slow to begin with, and it does, gather up as the film continues. But you had to warm up to the characters. Sometimes, there are films that you sort of really, you see the characters and you warm to them immediately. This was a work in progress, I like to call it, and definitely you warmed up to the characters as the film went along. Now, in this film, it did have many cinematic moments, but the key thing that really was of real interest and I found I absolutely loved was the CGI in the film to show the magic tree far away worlds. Absolutely made it very interesting, and it was actually all the adventures and the children's interactions with those characters that for me was the most important and the most interesting and engaging part of it, and was definitely on the big screen made such a big difference to how you viewed it. It was this beautiful visuals of these crazy worlds as well, but that was the standout moments for me in the film. So what stayed with me with this film was actually the family focused nature of it. And actually it was like a nod to how modern families nowadays are, where you've got your children glued to technology and absolutely, playing games, watching, being like one was a social media influencer. So there was definitely lots of those references and concerns you have about children and technology. And so it was interesting to see that transformation once they moved out into the country and you have that technology gone. What do you do? What do kids nowadays do if they didn't have their mobile phones with them? Interesting answer, I'm sure, but one that I think made you realise that sometimes it's good to take a step back from that, especially if you've got kids. Also as well, Rebecca Ferguson, I felt was not utilised as much as the villain Dane Snap in this movie. You actually wanted to see more of her, so I think that was a very good performance by her, because I've seen her in other films. You may remember her from Mission Impossible amongst a whole bunch of other films. So it was really interesting to see her in this really villainous role, and I actually enjoyed it, but unfortunately she didn't have enough screen time. Also, last thing that actually stayed with me was it was my brain trying to catch it was like, can you spot the UK or the film or TV celebrity from a British perspective, and some Irish as well, spotting them, and while trying to engage the film, you saw so many faces of actors that you kind of sat there going, I remember them from somewhere. Haven't I seen that person here? So that was quite funny. So even after the film, I was sort of asking who are these people and thinking, where have I seen them before? So yeah, there was quite, the cast was, it was quite a massive cast in that respect. So that's where, yeah, I definitely got that sense of wanting to know who are these and where have I seen them before. So, is this a film to go and see in the cinema? I would definitely wholeheartedly say yes if you have have children that you can take along who really enjoy the movie, and it's a great family time movie as well. I think if you haven't got children that you can take to the cinema, this actually may not be the film for you, and it's definitely one you can sit on the sofa at home and, you know, watch it at some point when, you know, you may not have other things to do. I do think that the thing for me was, because it's based on a series of books, I wasn't quite sure if they were introducing characters with the aspects of creating a sequel or whether this was a self-contained film. I think that there were some unanswered questions regarding some characters and what happens next. So I'm not sure what the setup or if this was setting it up. But I think it was good as a self-contained film. And if there were to be a sequel, it'll be quite interesting to see how that would work. You never know, but I definitely sensed that it was either setting you up for some bigger sort of storylines for a sequel, or as it was, it's just a self-contained film based on a series of books and they've squeezed it all into one. So thank you for watching this review. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up. If you like films the way I do, please subscribe. I do these reviews weekly and I hope to see you next time, and I'll save you a seat.